For now on the program, though, Saudi Arabia has said it will continue to flood the global market with oil, despite the worst price crash in decades. The chief of the oil giant of Saudi Arabia making the comments during the ongoing economic forum right now in Davos, Switzerland. And here's over to Daniel Bushell.
World leaders and billionaires at the centre of this growing economic crisis are here, and you could say the atmosphere's rather tense. Perhaps hardest hit of all is Russia, buffeted by the lowest ruble ever, now over 80 to the dollar. But the price of oil, which props up the state economy, is also at decade lows. One of the country's largest banks told me it means the record low rubles actually, quote, fair.
Given the commodity cycle and where the prices are, primarily for the price of oil, I think ruble is fairly priced.
Now, the Russian slide's reflected in the home nation of practically every delegate. Whether this will turn into another 2008 crisis or worse will be intensely debated here all week.
RT's Daniel Bushell. Now, Russian finance officials say the current state of the national currency is not yet cause for concern. The weak ruble is in fact good news for export industries, which helps fill the state coffers. And in fact, when it comes to trade with Russia, many top politicians and business leaders from Europe and Asia that we spoke to remain optimistic.
Russia is a very important country for us in Europe. It's one of our most important, let's say, neighbors, in fact, the most important neighbor. But frankly, as you know, there are deep disagreements.
I think we will see the end of the sanction from Europe side next year. So the global business between Europe and Russia and the international links will be easier. And I think we are coming in the end of this new Cold War, slowly by slowly. So the global political environment will be better.
I think the growth rate of Russian market in our side is very exciting, and we think we will put more efforts on that. And not only we should put more infrastructure of the bilateral business between Russia and China, the road, the logistic, and the payment, which we're working with the. So all these things, if they're ready, I think the Russia and China has a huge potential to share.
In brief, some of the headlines now from around the world. A terrorist attack on a beach restaurant in Somalia's capital, killing at least 20 people. It's reported a car with explosives rammed the restaurant's entrance gate while a group of militants stormed the building taking hostages. There was a second blast outside just an hour later. A standoff between terrorists and police continued for 11 hours. At least 4 gunmen were shot. The Islamic extremist group Al-Shabaab claiming responsibility. An explosion has killed 6 people and injured at least 15 others in Giza. A government official say the blast went off as police tried to raid an apartment of suspected militants. And 3 victims were police. Islamic State saying they were behind the blast. A demonstration over hikes in public transport fares turned violent between police and protesters in Brazil. Authorities used tear gas and rubber bullets to break up the crowds. Several protesters reportedly injured. The situation got ugly after demonstrators refused to end their rally. And this was just the latest in a series of protests over the increase in transport fares. In France, around 500 farmers blocked a highway with their tractors and set tires on fire in protest against the country's trade policy. They blame the government for low food prices, which they say is due to unfair foreign trade. The farmers have threatened to block the highway for several days. In fact, a very similar protest in Greece on Thursday brought massive traffic chaos.